Phil Murphy is at Penn Station holding a press conference. He's being joined by representatives from New Jersey Transit as well as Amtrak for his announcement on their commitment to improving customers' experiences. Let's listen and hear what they have to say.
With Governor Phil Murphy, who is working hard to improve New Jersey Transit. Please join me in welcoming our governor, who is here today to speak on these issues and discuss solutions.
Thank you, Jennifer. Well done. Well done. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for making it here to New York Penn Station. Thank you again, Jennifer Made, who came over from Newark to be with us today, for your comments, for your patience, for your belief, and for your very warm introduction. For more than a year, getting this system back to working at the level that you and your fellow commuters deserve, let alone demand, has been one of our highest priorities. We know that we have a long road to travel to get things right and fully earn back trust, considering how far things were allowed to slide under the prior administration. But we are committed to getting there, and we will. I'm incredibly pleased today to be joined by Amtrak Chairman and friend Tony Kosha, New Jersey Transit Executive Director Kevin Corbett, and the Chairwoman of the New Jersey Transit Board and Commissioner of the Department of Transportation, Diane Gutierrez Scicchetti. Thank you all for being here. And again, Jennifer, thank you. Today, I'm proud to announce that NJ Transit and Amtrak have reached an agreement, fully resolving NJ Transit's outstanding prior payments owed to Amtrak. Under its terms, NJ Transit and Amtrak are now squared up and can move forward together in a stronger partnership. That this system was allowed to be hollowed out in the way that it was by the prior administration is shameful. That we are here today is emblematic of the disinvestment made over the 8 years before we came into office. And what's worse, commuters were told to pay more, but the bills weren't even getting paid. This is the NJ Transit that we inherited. But this announcement isn't just about resolving NJ Transit's past payment issues with Amtrak. We will begin working together to ensure a better day. All of the funds now paid up will be reinvested to help our commuters and strengthen our rail infrastructure. That includes things like a new portal bridge once federal funding is secured, so we can eliminate a choke point that not only grinds NJ Transit to a halt, but which also directly impacts Amtrak service along the entirety of the Northeast Corridor. More directly here at New York Penn, Amtrak and NJ Transit will work in partnership on numerous commuter-focused improvements, including things like updating the ticketed waiting room and improving both platform access and street-level entrances. And we will work together on a complete redesign of the 8th Avenue main concourse, so once Amtrak relocates to Moynihan Train Hall in 2021, NJ Transit's customers can have expanded facilities and amenities here. These are long overdue improvements needed to alleviate overcrowding on the concourse. They will make commuting to and from New York Penn easier and hopefully more comfortable. And while all of this work is happening, Kevin and his team and Diane and her team will continue to make the operational improvements and reforms necessary to get trains running on time and on schedule, and NJ Transit at the same time on a stronger financial footing. I've said it many times before, in a state as dense as ours, and we are the densest state in the United States, getting commuter rail functioning at a high level is existential. It is absolutely beyond any question necessary, and we will. We remain fully committed to rebuilding the stock of trained and certified engineers we need to prevent unwarranted cancellations. We remain fully committed to investing in new rail cars to increase capacity. We remain fully committed to completing the Positive Train Control federal safety system. We remain fully committed to shortening repair times so cars can get out of the maintenance shed and back into service. We remain completely committed to restoring NJ Transit once again to be the standard for efficient, reliable, safe, and affordable service. And I'm proud to know that we have Tony Kosha and his team at Amtrak working alongside of us to make that day happen. It is now my honor to introduce a good friend and the chairman of the board of Amtrak, Tony Kosha. Well done, man.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor. It's a pleasure to be here. And I have to say that today really is about partnership. I know that's a concept we talk about a lot, but at Amtrak, for the last 3 to 4 years, we've made incredible progress on trying to improve the nation's passenger rail system. And a fundamental part of our ability to do that has been the recognition that we cannot do it alone. That the places where we are most successful, the way that we can actually give people a far better experience than they're used to, the way we can step up to the challenge and become part of the country's transportation system to effectively serve our customers is by joining forces with the states where we do our business. Our ability to serve our customers, our ability to make a difference is directly related to our ability to join and partner with those states that have the vision and have the courage to make the investments and to make the commitment toward making their systems work better. Here in New York, just recently we announced an agreement with New York to bring rail service from communities that are underserved north of New York City in our Penn Access program, where we work with MTA and Governor Cuomo, and we've done things to also now explore the possibility of bringing additional train service to Long Island Railroad. And all of this is an example of places around the country where we've tried to create partnerships with states where we can invest our money together and invest it wisely in trying to serve customers, because it's about building a system that is safe and that's reliable and it's efficiently operated. Nowhere in the country is this example better shown than the dramatic transformation of our relationship with one of our state partners than in New Jersey. New Jersey Transit and Amtrak had a relationship for quite a few years where basically the entire exercise was about determining how quickly to blame the other one for something that had happened. You know, the truth is that I don't think riders really cared about all of that. Fortunately, Governor Murphy, Commissioner Schicchetti, and Kevin Corbett have been incredible partners to us in trying to get around all those things. We worked very hard since Governor Murphy came to office to overcome all the obstacles that had previously presented themselves, and we now have a really effective partnership that has already seen incredible benefits. Here in Penn Station, we have a slew of investments that we're planning to make to try to make this experience better for our passengers. The governor mentioned our plan to improve the waiting area for ticketed passengers, upgrades to the Acela Lounge. We've upgraded restrooms. Amtrak and New Jersey Transit have joined forces to try to work together on building a better system for custodial services so that the cleanliness of the facility, its appearance and lighting and other functions are handled on a more efficient basis. These are all things that we need to work together on, and New Jersey Transit has become our sort of example of the true kind of partnership that's aimed at providing an improvement to the customer experience. But obviously, the changes we need to make to the system are not just here inside the station. They're also the major infrastructure projects that we need to work on. The governor mentioned Portal North Bridge, and one of the things I think that's important to point out in the concept of trying to underscore how important partnership is that what we've learned in terms of large investments in infrastructure is that, you know, the phrase, God helps those who help themselves. And the truth is that the governor has stepped up and made a $600 million commitment to the replacement of the Portal Bridge, a major roadblock in being able to effectively serve commuters from New Jersey. The fact that New Jersey stepped up and put its money where its mouth is, made a commitment in a very, very tangible form, candidly is something that is incredibly noteworthy, not just here, but in Washington and around the country. And that provides the kind of real leadership. Amtrak is planning to match that commitment, and we're hoping to get our federal partners on board to begin that project very soon. We've also worked together with New Jersey Transit on the New Hudson Tunnel project, something where we completed the EIS in 22 months, half the time it normally takes. Again, a real example of true cooperation between the different entities. And here at Penn Station, this is basically the anchor of a plan that will ultimately bring together the region's entire transportation system. And we're fortunate to be working with Governor Murphy, Governor Cuomo, and our MTA and New Jersey Transit partners on trying to turn this facility into what it should be to serve the public needs that it now has. In the interim, we understand there are things we can do as the owner of this facility to make it operate better. We've now invested an incredible amount of money in the infrastructure associated with improving our interlocking systems, upgrading various platforms, and doing the kind of things that we think will help reduce the number of delays and problems that we have on the railroad, and again, something where we've worked in close partnership with New Jersey Transit on completing all of those things. You know, the thing is that, you know, partnerships are a two-way street, and there are places where we could be helpful to New Jersey Transit, and where New Jersey Transit has rightfully demanded that we step up and be part of the effort that they're undertaking to make New Jersey Transit a much stronger entity. As part of that, we're providing a 14-acre parcel in New Jersey that's going to help create enhanced maintenance and inspection facilities for the railroad. We're investing together in building a new station in Elizabeth, New Jersey that will hopefully be open in 2020. And again, we're working together here in Penn Station to make this the kind of facility that will serve our customers together in a way that's important. And not far from any discussion about either of our railroads is the issue of safety. And what you saw New Jersey Transit do in the past 12 months about stepping up to the challenge of PTC installation is nothing short of heroic. And I'm proud of the fact that Amtrak worked very closely with New Jersey Transit to provide both technical support and logistical support on helping them accomplish all of that. So I'll close by saying that it is very obvious to me and to Kevin and to Diane and those of us who work in this every day that people who get on a train don't really care whether it's a New Jersey Transit train or an Amtrak train or the Long Island Railroad or Metro North or PATH or anyone else. They just want to get from one place to the other. They want to get there safely, they want to get there efficiently, and they want to make sure that we are using our resources correctly. Our riders do not care about our fractions between ourselves. They just care about us getting the job done, and I'm grateful to have a partner in Governor Murphy who sees it that way and is focused on getting the job done, and I think the riders from New Jersey and from the region will benefit from his leadership. Thank you.
I couldn't underscore with more passion, if I tried, a lot of the points that Tony just made. And you see a guy who, by the way, has an extraordinary experience in and around what we're talking about today. For those of you who don't know, I need to remind you, Tony's also the former chairman of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. That experience alone informs, in addition to other life experiences, informs his work as chair of Amtrak. The other thing I'd say, Tony, thank you. About 3 weeks ago, Tony and Amtrak provided us a special rail car inspection, essentially, from Newark right here to Penn Station. And if you didn't believe what Tony already said, that folks don't really care about what car they're on, we're all in this together. And when you see it up close and in person, as we did, it's extraordinary that NJ Transit and Amtrak weren't getting along because we need each other. We can't, either organization can't achieve any of our aspirations without the other. And I'm incredibly happy that we've turned that page and we've got an extraordinarily close working relationship with Amtrak. Tony, again, thank you for your leadership. It's now my honor to ask to come up to say a few words the Executive Director of NJ Transit, Kevin Corbett.
Thank you. It certainly is. My job becomes pretty easy when you have support from a governor and a board chair like Diane. As far as working with Tony Kosha, all I can say is he came to Georgetown a few years after I arrived, and I can tell you they certainly raised the standards significantly after they let me in. As always, it's a pleasure working with Tony and the rest of the Amtrak crew. This agreement to us represents a clean slate and an opportunity to begin a new era in our partnership with Amtrak. As part of the agreement, all outstanding payments have been made and New Jersey Transit is now current with all of our funding commitments. As the co-chair of the Northeast Corridor Commission, along with FRA Administrator Ron Batory, it has become abundantly clear that all the railroads need to be united in investing in the Northeast Corridor and not be acting adversarially with each other. This was the basis of the Passenger Rail Investment Improvement Act, the PRIA Act, in 2008. When the Northeast Corridor succeeds, we all succeed. That is the premise of PRIA. The PRIA payments allow us to work collaboratively with and reliably fund Amtrak, enabling them, for example, to improve the signal and catenary system, the primary cause of delays that have long plagued both New Jersey Transit and Amtrak customers in the Northeast Corridor. Going forward, we'll meet the intent of PRIA, as our monthly contributions from NJ Transit will go directly into the state of good repair projects on the Northeast Corridor. With a renewed sense of collaboration, these projects will advance more smoothly. There'll be better cash flow, improved planning, and from our end, New Jersey Transit will have more input and coordination on prioritizing critical maintenance projects. For a majority of our rail customers, the clearest example of our partnership with Amtrak is right here at Penn Station, New York, as this is the destination of choice for their daily commutes. When we look at the overall customer experience at NJ Transit, the experience here at Penn Station, New York plays a major role. Nearly 50 million New Jersey Transit passenger trips come through Penn Station each year. That's why we want to make sure we're doing everything we can to get it right. Whether that's the short-term projects at Penn Station, such as improving the shared waiting area, streamlining the flow of customers to the station coming from our area by 7th Avenue over to the 8th Avenue, or adding New Jersey Transit information to additional displays, each effort plays a role in making improvements for all our customers. As the governor referred to, after a long absence, we are finally stepping up as an equal partner in working with Amtrak and the MTA on a comprehensive plan for the longer-term renovation of Penn Station. For example, we are currently working with Amtrak and Long Island Railroad on a joint operations center within the station. Representatives of the operating departments of the three railroads will be co-located to foster a collaborative approach to management of the passenger concourse areas. These are the kind of advancements that will make direct impact on the customer level, and that matters. By moving forward in our partnership with Amtrak, we can also continue to advance the largest projects on the Northeast Corridor. Full implementation of positive train control, PTC, by December 31st is a shared priority. Again, Amtrak, as Tony mentioned, Amtrak and New Jersey Transit team have been working in partnership to ensure the federal deadline is met. Our meeting, the December 18 deadline, was due in no short fantastic cooperation from the team members at Amtrak, which was deeply appreciated. Currently, Amtrak is providing crews for testing and other support measures to ensure that New Jersey Transit can safely operate with PTC on the Northeast Corridor well within the December 2020 deadline. We will now be working together on the $370 million improvement of the county yard between New Brunswick and North Brunswick, the property that Tony referred to. This project is part of our resiliency effort to better protect our rail equipment from extreme weather. An improved county yard will allow for additional reliable storage for our rail equipment, as well as an additional storage and inspection facility. While that may sound a little boring, following a storm, this will allow us to keep more of our equipment protected in a central location and then perform the required inspections to return trains back into service as quickly as possible. The work at County Yard also increases our operational efficiency, mechanical reliability, and allows for improved access on and off the Northeast Corridor. You may recall Superstorm Sandy wiped out all of our rolling stock. Simply stated, our rolling stock was placed in harm's way. County Yard, the construction of a new yard, and storage of the inspection facility in the New Brunswick area would have prevented that. This project has languished for years pending agreements from Amtrak. I am pleased that Amtrak has committed to finalizing those agreements in advance of our New Jersey Transit March board meeting. As another example, recently New Jersey Transit Board of Directors approved a final design and construction contract for a new $70 million Elizabeth Station. That work has begun, and our partnership with Amtrak continues to be a critical aspect in advancing that project and providing our customers in Elizabeth with a new, modern, and efficient station. Perhaps nothing is more important than keeping the infrastructure in state of good repair. Together with Amtrak, we are collaborating on a joint submission to the FRA to obtain funding for important state of good repair projects that benefit customers of both our agencies, such as Newark Penn Station. Then we have the most critical infrastructure project in the nation, Gateway. Although there's been a lot of coverage on that, New Jersey Transit is, I mentioned, working fully as partners with Amtrak to complete the environmental impact statement for the new Hudson River Tunnel, and we continue to coordinate with the FRA and the FTA. On Portal Bridge, the early action construction is on time and under budget. Property acquisition and utility relocation agreements are underway, and we are advancing on construction agreements between New Jersey Transit and Amtrak. This agreement strengthens the relationship with Amtrak in securing the necessary funding for these critical projects. As you can see, the importance of our relationship with Amtrak is immeasurable. I look forward to continue strengthening our coordination for the benefit of all our rail customers in the region. Finalizing this agreement is just another example of how we're turning the tide in New Jersey Transit. Over the past year, we've been cleaning up after years of prior neglect. Not only was this Amtrak agreement left to wither, but so too was part of train control. As Tony mentioned, we got PTC back moving in the right direction at full speed, meeting the year-end federal milestone. The roster of locomotive engineers was left to dwindle. We've now hired more than 100 new trainees and now have a record-setting 6 training courses going on concurrently. You can look across the agency and see positive things happening. Hundreds of new bus operators are on the street. Last week, we announced the completion of the 69th Street Bridge in North Bergen, another project that had been languishing. So I think this is a sign of what we are doing and the attitude of New Jersey Transit as we go forward. I want to thank Governor again for his commitment to transit and to his support, and I want to thank Tony and all the Amtrak team for this new day in our partnership. And I'm sure it will result in real, measurable improvements for all our customers. Thank you.
Thank you. Tony reminded me that the 2008 agreement that we're now announcing that we're whole on today was a bipartisan agreement, and it included a dear friend of mine and a guy who stood for infrastructure as tall as anybody, Senator Frank Lautenberg. So I want to say in Frank's name, we're here today finally making ourselves whole again. We have time for a couple of questions, Dan? Please. Yeah, I just would say the following. I made a statement yesterday after I heard about this note, and it is not only my right, it is my responsibility and my obligation to make sure that the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey punches at its weight, and in my case, on behalf of all the commuters who pay a lot of money to cross bridges and tunnels, and I will continue to do so. One more time? Yeah, please, Tony.
Richard Anderson's commitment was that we would only run trains where there was a PTC compliant program in place. There are, I mean, first of all, Amtrak system itself, the track that we control, and I'm not going to get the statistic correct, but I can get it for you. It is literally 97% or 98% of the track that we own is in fact fully PTC compliant, both the right-of-way and the equipment on the trains themselves. There are parts in the country where PTC is not installed, and either they are subject to a waiver because there are operating procedures that have been changed. So for example, in parts of the country where they've agreed that since they can't get PTC installed, they will run trains at a much slower speed. Therefore, it eliminates the typical risk you might otherwise have with a collision that comes from a train that doesn't have that kind of protective system. And there are places where it has been installed and it's provisionally going through a whole series of monitoring and testing, and during that period, again, there are operating procedures that have been changed. But on 100% of the system where we operate, either we have fully installed the equipment, both on the track and in the trains, or we are operating under an FRA-approved protocol that provides essentially a gap for outliers where there's still some additional work that may need to be done at some point, simply because balancing no service versus that, you know, clearly makes sense. But those systems are impacted because they're either running at lower speeds or they have fewer frequencies or something like that is happening. It is as safe as it could be, yes. And then we will not run trains if we're not satisfied that the safety protocol in place is as much as we could possibly do. And we are talking about a very small percentage. I mean, you understand that we are talking about a system that 5 years ago was at 0 and today is at 97, 98% fully installed. So everything that we own and control, we have invested whatever it took. We've done whatever has been required in order for us to do it. But there are other railroads who we rely on. And in some of the instances that you might be referring to, I don't know, we are in partnership with freight railroads where we run our trains that are PTC installed over railroads that may not have fully implemented their PTC system because they're either in remote areas or other things happen. And as I said, in each of those areas, we are 100% compliant relative to creating a different operating procedure to assure that our trains are safe.
Well done. Please. Yep. Kevin, come on down. So the question is, what concrete improvements will a commuter see at Penn Station, and when? And Kevin, let's let Kevin talk about that.
Yeah, certainly we have the big master plan, which has been stalled, that we're working again now with the Amtrak team and MTA to relook at how, as Amtrak moves in, and I could let Tony talk to that, into Moynihan, what happens with this space and what happens with the rest of the station. But in the shorter term, as you, I think, Paul, you know personally, riding the M&E, our traditional area down on 7th Avenue gets very crowded. It was, what it was designed for is well past its capacity now with passengers. Meanwhile, this area with Amtrak, there's been no entrance here, so we're going to be improving the flow. There'll be an entrance here, and I'll let Tony or someone from Amtrak give more of the details, so that we'll be able to have signage so that we encourage Amtrak to our own passengers to be sharing this area here, waiting, and be able to access our trains on all the platforms. And we're also cooperating by doing a combined sharing arrangement that for the maintenance of the facility on our side here with Amtrak. We're using the same vendor now, so that leads, these are steps in getting us to have a more coherent and comprehensive.
You're also going to have a street access from 8th Avenue here, right?
Yep. So when you're coming down 8th Avenue, here you have the entrance when you're coming down there. A lot of New Jersey Transit riders go all the way over to 7th Avenue instead of having customer service and be able to transit right through and share this seating here because there's no seating over in our area, for example.
Thank you, sir. Please.
Years ago, there was a plan for transit to extend the platform for all of the tracks. Once before, with transit using into Moynihan. That has been mothballed. Since Gateway is going to take 10 years, does it make sense to reactivate that plan to allow New Jersey commuters to run on longer trains that work faster and use Moynihan when it opens?
I'll ask Kevin to come back, but I want to remind everybody that the ARC tunnel would have been open and operational had it not been canceled, and we may not be having this event today. Please make that sure.
Specifically on that, the old mail platform, removing the mail platform and extending our first two platforms so we can get a 10-car consist. Yeah, that's some. Yeah, and that is something that we've looked at and be able to do the connector over to get those first 4 tracks. That's something we're working as part of the bigger study at what interim steps. I think to do realistically, to do a complete overhaul of all of the existing Penn Station is not going to happen in 1, 2, or 5 years. So I think we are working with Amtrak, and we'll be working with MTA on their portion to look at how we phase in those improvements. But that certainly is an improvement, how we can maximize utilization and throughput in the terminal. That's part of the plan, yeah.
I'm concerned that we're upsetting commuters by overstaying our welcome. We had one here, we got one here. Sir. Yep. I think we've not been disclosing the amount of money unless anyone cares.
As far as the actual details, our monthly PREA payments, there's operational payments that vary, is roughly $7 million a month under the PREA agreement.
And we're making up for history. What about on the platform experience?
On platform experience, well, that's the thing. A lot of people, even like myself, I get off in Morristown, I want to be in the front couple of cars, but most people go to the 7th Avenue side instead of accessing, waiting here and going down to the platforms right here. So that'll balance the loads by having New Jersey Transit riders feel comfortable and have easy access from both 7th and 8th Avenue through, to be able to go down and access here. So it'll balance the loads rather than everyone going through the mosh pit like they currently do over on 7th Avenue.
So it's extraordinary, given how embedded these organizations are with each other, that the relationship was allowed to be as dysfunctional as it was in the prior administration, and it was New Jersey's fault. Ryan. You did not hear any numbers. Are we disclosing the numbers or not?
Yeah, no, the reason was that there's various figures. We can get you more details, but it's roughly $189 million. It was the accrued payments that we were legally obligated to pay, but it goes month by month, so depending on the effective date, it'll be a different figure. Right.
Right.
Governor, can I add one thing?
Yeah, Tony's going to add one thing now, if you could. You know what?
I just want to add one thing to the issue. I mean, Kevin gave you a sense of the numbers, which are significant because they represent an accrual of unpaid contributions to capital and operating expenses for a lengthy period of time. And the fact that the governor is sort of in transit are resolving this is a good thing. But a part of this agreement is that all of the funding that we're now getting from New Jersey Transit, which represents basically past due payments that are due, Amtrak is committed to investing every nickel of that money in New Jersey, in infrastructure that will benefit New Jersey Transit riders and Amtrak riders and the region generally. So there is a significant amount of money that is now flowing, but it is flowing into an investment in the system, which underscores our need as partners to invest that money correctly. But the money's not going anywhere. It's basically going right back into something that hopefully will benefit the average rider.
You have one more. Well, first of all, I wasn't there, Ryan, so you have to forgive me. I wasn't in the seat. But I don't see any evidence that infrastructure and transportation was ever a priority in the Christie administration. No evidence at all. Whether it was safety, efficiency, funding it, working with partners, literally you name it. There's no evidence that I've seen, and we are digging out of that legacy and turning the page as fast and as meaningfully as we can. Somebody who has not asked yet, please. So we do things hand in glove with New York all the time. So for instance, our coordination between the two administrations in New Jersey and New York, as well as in our congressional delegation on the Gateway Tunnel funding pursuit with the federal government, on the Portal Bridge that Tony talked about on Penn Station. We do that in coordination with New York all the time, and the relationship is very good. This is specifically making up for a New Jersey deficit from the prior administration between New Jersey Transit and Amtrak. So it's a bilateral agreement, and as Tony said, every dime of that, or nickel as he said, will get put back into projects that we need to make the service and experience better. Please. Sorry, in the back. I'm not hearing you, sir. So again, I wasn't there, and I think lots of excuses were put forward, but I think what you had in New Jersey was an administration that just didn't prioritize, didn't care about. I'm not sure what the right verb is, but transportation, infrastructure, NJ Transit, the commuter experience, the balance of who bears the cost, the relationship with our partners, none of it. There was nothing that I found no evidence that suggested it was either a priority or it was well funded or it was cared about. With that, we're gonna shut it down because I think we're wearing our welcome.
Well, we've been listening to New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy speaking at Penn Station. He says all of the funds owed to Amtrak from New Jersey Transit have been paid, and now money can start going towards commuter improvements like the Gateway Tunnel Project, bridge, and more improvements like that.